Hello, and welcome back to LendAPI Academy. My name is Kay, and this is episode 8 in our Introduction to LendAPI series. In this series, we're going to be walking through all of the features and functionalities of LendAPI, as well as teaching you how to utilize the platform to build your very own lending product. So we left off last episode wrapping up the connection between Rule Studio and our product studio and showing you how to connect your decision trees with the application itself and testing the functionality of it. So today we're going to move on to the third big workflow piece, which is the offer table or pricing engine. Before we go there, I want to show you a couple things I did before creating my offer table, and that is creating few new offer table variables, or in our system we call them system output variables. These are going to be connected to the outputs that you generate from your offer table. And the ones that we created the last time was approved amount, and I also created one for APR. Both of these are going to be generated from our offer table and shown to the user or end customer once they've gone through our pre-approval flow. So with that being said, let's get to our pricing engine. So once you navigate to the pricing engine, you will see two very distinctive pieces of features here listed out in pricing engine. One is a pricing engine itself, as well as a child engine. So much like the Rule Studio, the pricing engine can be broken into different pieces and connect back to each other. Meaning if you want to, you can create various different offer tables in the pricing engine that all branch into a larger offer table. This is mostly utilized for more complex offer tables or multiple products with multiple variables. So for us, we are going to be utilizing a personal loan offer table, which will only require a few different variables. So for us, we'll pick a simple pricing engine. So once you're ready, simply click the Add Pricing Engine button, and you will be taken to the offer table edit page. A couple things to note here is, obviously with anything in LendAPI, always create a title for your next functionality. And for us, we are creating a pre-approval offer, which will be shown with our pre-approved loans and applicants. So this is the title, and then of course we want to tie this to an outcome. Offer table and decision outcomes only come out once all of the rules and basic filters from Rule Studio have been met. So these again are people who are, for us, are employed, meet a certain debt to income ratio, and of course are over 18 years old. So once those basic metrics are met, we should be able to generate an offer for each user. So for this, our decision outcome we set is the pizza pre-approval. And you will note that all of the outcomes tied to our offer table are only coming from the approved decision outcome type, for obvious reasons. If an offer has been declined, you do not need to present an offer to the user. And then, of course, we talked about earlier, if you want to set different offer tables to connect in a more complex way, you can always set more child offer tables. And then finally, we want to select the product we're tying this to, which of course is our pizza personal loan. Okay, with that being said, let's start to create our offer table. So the way that LendAPI works is we allow the users to generate their own offers and custom types directly utilizing Excel. So for that, that means that you would have to create your own offer table in Excel and drag it back into the LendAPI, the pricing engine shown here. If you have not done something like this before, that's totally okay. We actually offer a sample table for you to download and start creating. I would recommend you do so here. But for those who are new, I've created a sample offer table utilizing Google Sheets, actually. And I want to walk through what a LendAPI offer actually looks like. So in here, you'll notice that I am utilizing a general Excel format, and I have here what we call our operator. These are going to be the anchors for your offer, and I've just listed a set of loan types based on some parameters we've set, and name this the operator type so that once I upload this into my offer table, the system will be able to recognize it. And then moving forward, I start to set my conditions and my actions. So these are systems that are meant to have conditions and actions met. So if condition 1 and condition 2 are met, these are going to be the actions that will come out of it. So this is the logic of the LendAPI pricing engine. It seems simple enough, but has a lot of versatility and metrics for you to utilize. Now, for most of you, you'll probably want to understand how many conditions and how many actions you can set. There is really no limit. You can set as many conditions, as many actions as you want, or as much as Excel or Google Sheets allows. And LendAPI's engine is powerful enough to be able to run all of these different metrics in our system. So the two conditions that I've set are income range, which we will be taking, of course, from the income that a applicant inputs. And I've put this into a range format. There are two different types of conditional settings that you can have. One is range, which of course allows you to have a range. For me, for this particular loan, we've set the income to be from $0 to $10,000 or $9,999, and then from $10,000 to almost $20,000, and so on and so forth. Each of these resulting in a loan amount that we've determined. And then, of course, for me, I've topped the range here to be over $100,000. So this is the range format I've set here. I've also set a range for my debt-to-income ratio, of course, based on the calculation that we are going to be performing on the DTI. And the range is going to be anywhere from 0 to 90, with each of these corresponding to a specific APR. And you will see that Both of these are set as ranges because, for simplicity's sake, for my specific offer table, I want to set them as certain ranges so I can control what APR and amount are shown. The other setting that you can have for our offer table is going to be an exact amount. So for users that are setting to match, say, an exact amount or even a string, instead of range, I would utilize the equal sign here. And this will tell the offer table to read this as the exact match. But for us, since we are utilizing numeric integers, we're going to be utilizing range. And then next to it, we have two set actions in place. So these are our actual system's output. These are what our offer table is going to show the user if these two conditions are met. The first of which is, of course, an APR, which we just created a system output for. And then the second is the loan amount itself. And if you meet both of these conditions, you will receive one of each of these numbers in your pre-approval offer. And you'll see that there's not really a setting for the action because for our offer table, we view the actions themselves as a direct equivalence, meaning that this is an equal sign. So if you meet these conditions or within this range of these conditions, we will give you this exact action. So with that, this is an example of the LendAPI offer table. I encourage you to download the sample offer table, which is going to look very similar to this, and start to build yourself. I utilize the sample table to actually build this out. So now that we're ready to save this, I'm going to download this as an Excel into my computer, and then I'm going to save this and upload it into my offer table. So with that, let's upload this, and here is our pizza pre-approval offer table. So once I've uploaded this, I simply have to save the changes that I've just made, and voila! The offer table that we just created in our Google Sheets is now available to be uploaded. So as soon as you upload an offer table, one thing you will see is going to be the mapping functionality. So this is the pricing engine's own systems recognizing that a table has been uploaded and you can now map it to a certain field. So now that we have this done, let's start mapping. You will see a few different mapping cells, the first of which is going to be your input variable. These are usually your conditions. So it's either what the user has inputted or what you've calculated, and these will be mapped to usually a condition. And then after this, you'll see your output variables. These are, of course, going to be mapped to a system's output or certain outputs ready for you to use. So, and then of course we have our derived variables. So if you've utilized a specific calculation to perform one of these conditions or actions, you can map it here. So let's begin with our input variable. So we have two conditions. The first of which is, of course, our income. So in here, in the input variables, I'm going to be searching for my income, which I've listed as monthly income. And I will utilize this as my income range. So you will see again, we are pulling directly from our variable studio. So this is going to be the income that the user inputs, and we want to map this back to the income that we want to show. So you'll see I'm utilizing the variable code, pizza monthly, and then in the Excel header that I've just uploaded, I'm going to map this to the income range. And this completes our first condition. Now moving on to the next condition, we will be utilizing the debt to income ratio. Now there are two ways to do it. You can of course utilize the derived variable to map the debt to income ratio here, or you can map it also in the input cells. So for conditions, I generally like to utilize the input variable to map all of my conditions, even if it is utilizing a derived variable. So because we are going to be utilizing DTI, we're going to look for our debt to income ratio variable, which we've named pizza DTI. And then we're going to map it to our DTI header, which is condition 2. This actually has mapped all of our input variables, our 2 conditions. So now let's move on to the output. So you'll see here, this is where you would map the system's output variable to an action. The caveat here is for systems output variables, you can only map an output variable, meaning a system output, to an action. You cannot map this with any of the other variable types, such as input variables or even derived variables. So for us, we're going to map the first action to our APR, which is what we named pizza APR, and we're going to map it to APR. And then we're going to map action 2 as our loan amount, which we've named as approved amount, and map it to loan amount. So we've mapped all of our actions as well as our conditions, and that means our mapping has been completed for this particular offer table. So before we move on, let's save our changes. And as always, with all the other functions, our pricing engine also allows the users to be able to test their offer table. So let's test and see if we get the right offer. So we're going to be putting in a monthly income of, let's say, $15,000. Good income. And then we will be putting in a debt to income ratio, which of course is going to be calculated this from a derived variable of 43%. And let's analyze. And you will see in the results themselves that we have a loan named 10 loan, and then the APR we're getting is 4, and the approved amount is $15,000. So let's check. This looks correct, but let's just double check. So going back into our offer table, I've entered 15 grand, which is in this range, and I've entered 43, which is in this range for our DTI, which means that yes, the APR is 4, and of course our loan amount is 15,000. So all of that looks good. Let's try one more. For this one, I think I'm going to put the monthly income to be 45,000, and then the DTI to be a little bit higher, maybe 75. And we analyze, and we get another result with the APR being 3 and the loan amount being 50,000. So again, coming back to our table, we see that we are in this range, $45,000, and then a DTI of 75. So yes, we are in a 3 APR with 50,000. So all of this looks good based on our mapping. So going back to our offer table, everything looks like it's mapped correctly and it's generating the right approved actions based on the inputs we've decided. So with that, I think I feel comfortable publishing this. So when you are ready to put your pricing engine into production, the first thing you need to do, as always, is publish. And of course, this is going to be our test pre-qual version 1. And we want to publish this so we can tie it back to our product. And now that we've published, let's go back. And of course, you will see that your new offer table has been listed along with the version that you've just published, the product type that you have attached it to, and then of course the updated date. And as with anything in LendAPI, you have the capability to always come back and edit your offer table, update it as needed at any time. And if at any point you find this to be no longer needed, all you have to do is deactivate it by clicking the X here. So with that, we have successfully created the pricing engine. So thank you for following along with this episode, and as always, please follow and subscribe for more LendAPI content. Thank you, and cheers.